Marriage is meant to be a lifelong commitment, built on love, trust, and shared dreams. But for many, divorce becomes the painful reality. The truth is, some of the reasons that lead to divorce are already familiar to us. We've heard them before, yet we often ignore them, thinking the cracks in our relationship will just fix themselves. The reality is, these issues, big or small, quietly erode the foundation of a marriage until it breaks apart. Stay till the end. Every point connects. The final part might surprise you, leading to powerful truths many couples overlook. 1. Unrealistic expectations. When we marry, we often come to the relationship with high hopes, believing that love will be the solution to everything. We think love can heal wounds, forgive mistakes, and overcome every challenge. And while love is undeniably powerful, it's not enough to carry a relationship on its own. Expectations that your partner will fulfill all of your emotional needs, make you happy, and solve your problems can create unbearable pressure. No one person can meet all of our needs, no matter how much we wish they could. It's a setup for disappointment. The mistake we make is in thinking that love alone can handle all the work. But as time passes and we realize our partner isn't the perfect solution to all our problems, frustration sets in. When our expectations are unmet, bitterness can take root. We start to blame our partner for things they never had the ability to provide. The truth is, love isn't about perfection. It's about understanding, patience, and compromise. But too often, we allow ourselves to believe that the perfect love exists. And when it doesn't, we start to doubt the love we have. We knew love wasn't supposed to be perfect, but we convinced ourselves it should be. 2. Failure to adapt. When you meet someone, you often see them through rose-colored glasses, seeing only the good, the ideal. But life doesn't stay static. People grow. The person you fell in love with might change in ways you never expected. They may evolve emotionally, mentally, even spiritually. But this change doesn't have to be a threat. It can be an opportunity for growth together. The problem arises when one partner refuses to see their spouse's growth, when they cling too tightly to the person they once knew, refusing to embrace the new person standing before them. This failure to adapt can be devastating. You start to feel like strangers, even though you've shared so much together. The love you once had can't stay the same. It has to evolve. If you're unwilling to allow each other to grow, if you continue to expect the person you love to be the same as they were when you first met, you risk losing the very thing that drew you together in the first place. You knew change would come, but perhaps you thought love would stop it from happening. Unfortunately, change is inevitable, and it's in how we adapt to it that we either strengthen or fracture our relationship. 3. Lack of communication. Communication is the heartbeat of any relationship. It's the lifeblood that keeps us connected, keeps us understood, and keeps us seen by the one person who matters the most. But over time, couples start to take this for granted. They stop talking, stop sharing their feelings, their fears, their desires. What starts as a small silence, a few missed conversations, becomes a vast emptiness between two people who once couldn't wait to share everything. What happens next is insidious. Small misunderstandings grow into deep-seated resentment. Harbored feelings that should have been addressed quietly build walls that keep two people apart. It's not the loud arguments or the big fights that destroy love. It's the quiet withdrawal, The moments when you look at your partner and realize you don't truly know them anymore, that the distance between you has grown too wide to cross without effort. You knew communication was important, but it seemed easier to let it slide, to assume things would work out on their own. But in neglecting to speak, you've already chosen silence as the answer. 4. Infidelity. Trust is the foundation of every marriage. Without it, a relationship has no solid ground to stand on. Yet, when infidelity enters the picture, that trust shatters in an instant. It's not just the act of cheating, it's the sense of betrayal, the feeling that you've been deceived, the emotional devastation of realizing that the one person you trusted with your heart has broken that trust. Infidelity is rarely about just one mistake. It's often the result of long-standing emotional or physical distance that was never addressed. It happens when the need for connection, intimacy, or attention is ignored for too long. But no matter the reason, it leaves a wound that's hard to heal. Many people think infidelity only happens when something goes wrong in a marriage, but it's more than that. It's a sign of deep emotional disconnection. We often know the consequences of betraying someone, yet when we are emotionally or physically neglected, we may make choices we never thought possible. The pain of infidelity is lasting. Even if forgiveness happens, the scars remain. We knew that trust was everything, but we didn't realize how fragile it could be until it was too late. 5. Financial stress. Money isn't just about bills and budgets. It's about security, dreams, and stability. When finances become strained, it isn't just the money that's at risk. It's the foundation of the entire relationship. Constant financial stress creates tension, resentment, and anxiety. It breeds arguments, feelings of inadequacy, and often a sense of helplessness. Whether it's differences in spending habits, mounting debt, or a lack of financial planning, the pressure starts to seep into every part of the relationship. What once seemed like a team effort can quickly turn into a battlefield where blame is assigned and trust erodes. Financial issues don't just challenge your bank account, they challenge your partnership. You start to feel like you're fighting the world together instead of fighting for each other. You knew that finances could be a source of stress, but you thought you could push through. However, ignoring these issues only makes them worse, and eventually, the cracks in your relationship widen. The cost of ignoring financial problems is more than money. It's love, security, and peace of mind. Before we continue, if you've made it this far, I want to take a moment to commend you for taking the time to reflect on these important aspects of your relationship. If you found this message valuable, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel and share this video. 6. Emotional neglect. Emotional neglect may not always be obvious, but over time, it takes a toll. When you're no longer seen, heard, or understood by the person who once made you feel safe, the distance between you grows. Life gets busy, and we forget to check in with each other to ask how the other is really feeling. We stop doing the little things that show we care. Emotional neglect isn't about being intentionally hurtful. It's about taking each other for granted, assuming that the love you share will carry you through even without the necessary emotional effort. But over time, neglect leads to feelings of isolation and loneliness. We might stay in the same house, share the same bed, but feel as though we're worlds apart. The mistake we make is thinking that love can survive without attention. We know we should prioritize each other's feelings, but we keep postponing the conversations, the moments of connection, thinking there's always tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes, and emotional distance turns into emotional abandonment. 7. Differences in parenting styles. Children bring joy, but they also bring stress, especially when two parents have different ideas about how to raise them. When partners can't find common ground on how to discipline, guide, or nurture their children, the strain can lead to constant conflict. It's hard to co-parent when you don't agree on the basics. You start to question whether you're on the same team, and as tensions rise, so does resentment. Differences in parenting can reveal deeper issues, like lack of communication, trust, and respect for one another's perspectives. You knew that parenting was challenging, but you didn't realize how difficult it would be to navigate it together when you're not aligned. The cracks begin to form when you feel like you're parenting alone, when every decision feels like a battle instead of a shared responsibility. 8. Loss of intimacy. Intimacy is what keeps the spark alive. The physical and emotional closeness that connects two people in a way nothing else can. But over time, intimacy fades. The late-night talks become fewer. The affectionate gestures become less frequent. The passion that once ignited the relationship starts to feel like a distant memory. When this happens, it's easy to feel as though something is missing, but no one knows how to fill the void. The routine of life, the stress of responsibilities, and the daily grind push intimacy to the side. The heartbreaking truth is that intimacy isn't just physical. It's emotional, mental, and spiritual. Without it, love feels more like a duty than a joy. We knew we needed to nurture our connection, but we assumed it would just remain, until one day we realized the spark had dimmed, and we didn't know how to reignite it. 9. Neglecting quality time together. Life moves fast. Work, kids, obligations, everything demands attention, and before you know it, time with your partner becomes an afterthought. You forget to take the time to laugh together, to enjoy each other's company without distraction. What was once spontaneous becomes routine. The moments that once made you feel connected now feel like a distant dream. The mistake we make is believing that our relationship will be fine even if we don't invest in it. We know that time together is vital, but we keep pushing it aside for more immediate concerns. Eventually, we wake up and realize that we've become strangers living in the same house. Quality time isn't just about being in the same space. It's about being present, truly present with each other. And when that's neglected, the relationship begins to feel more like an obligation than a bond. Divorce isn't just the end of a contract. It's the loss of a dream, a connection once thought unbreakable. The pain doesn't come from the final decision, but from years of neglect, misunderstandings, and emotional hurt. We often ignore the signs: lack of communication, emotional neglect, infidelity, thinking love will be enough. But love needs care, communication, and effort from both partners. Divorce doesn't have to be the end. With awareness and commitment, we can rebuild. If you want to strengthen your marriage and make it last, start watching my 10 daily habits that strengthen a marriage. These small actions can transform your relationship because love is always worth fighting for.